you have renewable energy being generated, but it's got to be distributed to end consumers, like everyone in the audience, like me, like you. So there's the distribution piece, and how difficult is it to sort of get the two together?
Well, it's not that you'll get solar energy separate. I mean, it'll be fed into the grid.
Into the grid, but it's got to come into the grid.
Whoever's buying electricity today, some of it is coming from renewable. They don't know it. They're just paying for the electricity, okay? Now, question really is that what do we need to do to accelerate the pace? The cost is very critical. Now, you know, the good news on cost is that if you just look at the price of electricity per kilowatt hour generated, solar electricity is already much cheaper than coal, okay? But the problem with solar and also wind is that it's intermittent. You don't get a steady supply during the year. So you've got a big peak when the sun is shining brightly and then it drops off. Now to use this electricity in the grid, you need a steady supply. You know, initially you can offset that by just buying more from the coal supplies because they can ramp it up a little. But you know, increasingly if the capacity becomes heavily RE, that is not going to work. And certainly by 2030, we will need to find ways in which we can balance the renewable electricity to make it a steady supply. How do you balance it? Well, the most obvious thing is you put in grid scale battery storage. So you have larger capacity during the peak period, store the electricity and release the electricity when the solar production is low. That adds cost. And the present situation is that if you add the cost of storage to the cost of solar electricity, the total cost is higher than it is for coal. So the economics of the switch become more difficult.
And they're not sitting well right now. But am I being optimistic when I say there could be innovations when it comes to storage?
Yes, I mean, look, in the solar side itself, there can be innovations because the efficiency of cells will increase. Remember, this is not something that we're just doing ourselves. This is what's going to solve the problem for the whole world. So the cumulative research capacity of the world will be discussing how do we improve the efficiency of solar cells. The lesson for us is that our supply system must be sufficiently flexible to allow such new technology to come in. And that raises another set of issues, okay? But the biggest improvement we can hope for is that the cost of battery storage may come down. Now, you know, battery storage is already coming down for electric vehicles. But the batteries you need for electric vehicles are very different
from the ones you need for a grid.
Yeah. And that cost hasn't yet come down because the transition hasn't yet occurred. But for the world as a whole, one should assume it's going to happen. That's why we need to have access to the best technology. And you know, over a longer run, I mean, we will be one of the largest, if you like, the largest markets for grid scale batteries simply because of the size of the economy.
Indeed.
So it makes sense to attract people with the technology to come and produce it here.